Hey orchid loving friends, it's Deb. I wanted to share with you my latest apartment living grow space. This is the Ikea greenhouse cabinet that I've put together. I'm sure you've seen, it's all over social media, the IKEA greenhouse cabinet craze that's happening right now. Most people that do this, they choose the Millsbo cabinet. That seems to be the most popular one, but for the space in the corner here, I went with the Detolf cabinet, just because it fits here way better for me. So this cabinet also, price-wise, it was only $69.99, whereas the Millsbo, I think they're like $229 or something like that. So for me, it's a fit. It's a win all the way around. So you'll see here, this cabinet is all glass. So it has a wood base, and then the top is also wood. So this was so easy to put together. I think it took me longer to open it and unwrap everything than it did to actually put it together. And I put it together myself. It was quite easy. I watched a video of another individual who has this, and she put hers together with a partner, and the partner just pretty much stood there, didn't really do anything. So I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look too tough. I can do it myself. And sure enough, I did. It's a lovely little cabinet. It's a perfect space that I needed for my warmer, humidity-loving orchids. It provides a lovely little area for them, and we're all comfortable, because as living in an apartment, I don't have an additional separate room or anything like that. So my orchids grow in my own living space. So we cohabitate, and now this allows me to really give them a little bit more of what they need without making myself uncomfortable at all. As you can see, the temperature in here is a balmy 26.8 and a 71% humidity. Yeah, I don't want to keep my apartment with those conditions for sure. So the idea of these cabinets is to create a lovely little environment for the tropical plants to grow in. So I have this fantastic little full spectrum LED panel, in which I've attached it with just 3M double-sided tape. The panel itself does come with little hangers that I could use, but I didn't want to, drill holes or anything like that in the cabinet. I just really couldn't be bothered. So I just used the double-sided tape, stuck it up there. The light itself, this is a new to me light. I haven't used it previously. My other panels are different. So this one, Amazon, I believe it was $29.99. But it seems to be quite bright. It does provide the additional warmth in the cabinet, but the panel itself doesn't get really hot. Like, you can touch it and, it's not burning your hand or anything like that. But the fan that's inside there is helping with air circulation, as well as keeping the top of the plants cooler. I definitely don't want my little Vandocostylis there to overheat. And that fan does a really good job. So again, an Amazon purchase. I think it was $15.99, something like that. It is a USB plug-in. So the cord, I just have the cords for the fan and the lights. They just kind of run along the top and then out through the side crack between the door and the sidewall. And then they run along to the back, and they're plugged in through the back. So some people, make additional holes to run their cords up and out or down and out. Again, I didn't take it that far. We'll see how this works for me. I think the fan and the heat that's in there, I did put a piece of tape over the USB plug anywhere, because it does have an additional plug for the fan so that you can connect multiple fans together, the daisy chain thing. So I just put a piece of tape over the end, the exposed connection on that USB connector, and just stuck it up there. It works well. So when I first put everything in here, I didn't have that humidifier, and it got pretty warm. So for the first few days, I was needing to leave the door open. I picked up that little humidifier. It is a USB chargeable humidifier, so it is fantastic. The charge lasts all day long, and the reservoir tank as well lasts all day long for me, using the intermittent mode, as you can see there. It does have intermittent or continuous mist. The intermittent works well for my little space here. When I first got it, I did have it on continuous and just kind of left it for a couple of hours. And when I came back, the whole inside of the cabinet was just like dripping wet. So there is a lot of mist coming out of that little thing. So again, the intermittent works best for my use here. So at the end of the night, when I shut everything down, I just take it out and I go and plug it in overnight. Next morning, I fill up the tank and put her back in here. It works really, really well. And no extra cords. Like, I hate all the cords all over the place. But it's nice to have that without the additional cord. The cabinet itself, or the environment itself, it does stay, like, we had a bit of a cold snap and my heat was turned down overnight, a little bit lower than it normally does. And the cabinet itself, it stayed like, it was like 20.2 in the morning. So it's staying nice and toasty warm in there. Last night, it is warming up a little bit. It's like, I don't know, 8 degrees or 9 degrees or something like that outside. So the cabinet itself, when we woke up this morning, it was at 22.2. And humidity was at 69%. So with the fan blowing and the humidifier blowing, we got 70% right now. I find that in the middle of the afternoon, or closer to the end of the afternoon, the heat will go up to about 27.2 and just kind of hover around there. And even the humidity yesterday afternoon, I think it was 74 is what it said. It just kind of stuck around there. So I've got my Vanda Costylis, I've got my Samara, my Prosecco cochleata, my vanilla. You know, these are all plants that are, naturally, they do live in the humid, warm countries, and so this is their optimal growing environment. And I couldn't really give them that optimal growing environment in my my grow shelves in my living room. Again, just because, my relative humidity in my apartment, don't get me wrong, my relative humidity in my apartment is anywhere between 48 and it does get up to about 58%. And in order for me to, again, give some of these guys, more closer to their optimum growing conditions, I would need to, up my humidity in my apartment and up the warmth of my apartment. And I keep my thermostat around 21. It does, pop up depending on what's going on. If I'm cooking, and stuff in the kitchen, my heat does go up to, like 23 or somewhere around there. And my my humidity does increase, but it's not comfortable for me to live like that all the time, right? So putting this additional grow space together for them allows them to be happy and allows me to be happy. And I, again, still have room to add some more in here and some more lights if I need to. And as you know, you always have room for one more orchid. And so I have lots of room for a couple of more orchids in my lovely little IKEA greenhouse cabinet space here. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you're thinking about doing it for yourself, I think it's well worth it to keep your plants nice and happy, keep you happy, and then too, you know, I love looking at my plants. So here, being in my home office space, I'm able to lovingly gaze over at them. I like having them in the same area in which I live so that I can enjoy them. I know that, you know, if I you know, got to a point where I have a separate room for them to have their own living quarter, then I would definitely look at doing that. But for me right now, that is not an option. So this allows me to do that. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, and come back and see me again. Talk soon.